I think more and more as I think the word would be you're almost an ambassador for the instrument. So it's like bringing some of the island culture to the United States, but more and more the instrument getting a figure, like a Bela-like figure, if you will, who takes it everywhere and makes it really well known, is going to do a lot for it. You know, it's sort of like when you talk about the Tiny Tim thing being relevant in the history of the instrument, it surely is. It's one of those early moments of it getting exposed to mainland culture. And I would argue that in a look back from the future, looking back in the rearview mirror, they're going to see the way that you have taken it as another part of that journey.
Oh, no, thank you very much. No, I mean, there have been so many, I mean, there are so many great ukulele players, that, I mean, one of my favorites is always the great Eddie Kamai, because he was the first ukulele virtuoso, and he was the one who inspired all the ukulele players today,
right.
Like in growing up in Hawaii to play the way that they did. I mean, if there wasn't Eddie Kamai, there wouldn't have been an Ota-san or a Peter Moon or
right, paved the way for a lot of other
exactly.
cats.
And
no, I'm with you on that.
So for me, it's just it's such an honor just to kind of be a part, just to kind of be a small part of seeing the evolution of the instrument, just experiencing that it's really incredible. It's thrilling. I mean, for me, I'm a big ukulele nerd, so like, I'm just excited that more and more people are picking it up, and just incorporating the sound of the ukulele in non-traditional music, things like like Train, Hey
that's
Soul
what
Sister.
That's what I knew you were getting at.
Yeah, Eddie Vedder. I mean, Eddie Vedder. I mean, he's such an icon. His
that brings it
voice.
to That's what I was talking about, bringing it to whole.
That brings it to
folks.
another level. Yeah, and introduces it, to an entirely different audience.
When on that note of bringing it to different people, the jam that you played for us on the record, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, Simon plays drums on that on the
Simon
record, right?
Phillips plays drums on that. So, I gotta tell you, it was just incredible playing with him in the studio.
That was Alan's idea to bring him on board?
Yes, Yep.
And you had, I'm assuming, never met him.
Never met Simon.
Who was experienced.
But actually, I kind of did meet Simon once because years ago when Toto came to Hawaii to perform with the symphony, with the Pops, I actually opened for them. So I did briefly meet, Simon Phillips and Steve Lukather and all those guys. I got to kind of say hi. I was so intimidated and just, I don't even think I said hi. I think I just waved and bowed or something. I just started bowing. But it was great, being able to collaborate with all these musicians on this new record because. One of the coolest things, I think it's probably what Alan and I are most proud of with this record, is everything was played live.
Yeah,
there are no overdubs on this record. And even when we brought in the Nashville Orchestra, we brought in a 30-piece orchestra, I played live with them. There was only a glass door that separated me from the orchestra, and we, Dan Coleman was the conductor, and we all faced the conductor, and we all played. And I mean, it was just wonderful.
Is that an Alan thing to do the orchestra, or did you want to do that?
Alan actually,
So these are some of the things that make a producer really important to a project.
Yeah.
We're talking about the collaborative aspect with Simon, the collaborative aspect of the arrangement of having the orchestra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I brought all the tunes to him. And he said, okay, these are and he made a couple of suggestions. Like it was Alan's suggestion to cover Over the Rainbow and also Fields of Gold, which is also on the record.
And he plays on.
Yes, he loves, he loves Sting. I mean, I love Sting, and actually that's how it started because I was talking to him about covering a Sting tune, so we're thinking maybe Every Breath You Take or something like that. And he was like, how about Fields of Gold? And I was like, oh, I love Fields of Gold. He said, have you ever played it? I was like, no. And he's like, do you think you could come up with an arrangement for it? And I said, all right, well, let me try. And, I stayed up all night in my hotel room, working on that. But it was great collaborating with him because he brings, just his his vision and concept, you know, and the ideas and the way he hears things. I mean, it's remarkable. And it wasn't, you know, because people think that, oh, you know, when you think of Alan, you think of this, you know, like, you know, this huge sound, like just a wall of instruments, you know. But there were tunes where I mentioned to him, like, oh, how about adding a rhythm section to this? And, you know, he would listen to it and he'd be like, no, I really like it as a solo ukulele piece. I think we should keep it as a solo piece, you know? I mean, so he definitely, he's all about, he just does what he thinks is right, you know? He doesn't do anything for the sake of just doing
so it's
it.
not
you know, or just,
overproduced.
it's not just about adding and adding
Right.
and adding.
A lot
you
of
know? Sometimes
dynamics.
it's just,
Real quiet
you know, I mean,
stuff.
he really believes that less is more, you know? And so it was, the cool thing was when we did Over the Rainbow. And you know, and I had mentioned to him about about Is, you know, but yeah, he had never heard that arrangement. So I was like, what? You've never heard that, you know? And so I had to send it to him, you know. But what he wanted me to do was, because he told me that, you know, this song has been covered so many times, and there's so many different versions of it. So he told me, you know, so I want us to go back to the source. And I was like, go back to the source, what do you mean? And he dug up his old VCR and VHS player. He brought out Wizard of Oz. He said, we're going to watch this from beginning to end. So we popped in there, you know, me and Alan Parsons watching the Wizard of Oz together, you know, in his house. And we watched it from beginning to end, you know, and it was great to hear Judy, because it's been, I don't know how many years it's been since I heard Judy Garland sing it. You know, and just hearing it in the context of the movie.
That's a good reference point. I like
that. You know,
that.
it was like, yeah, I mean, and then bringing in the orchestra, and then, you know, just, I mean, because I've covered that song. I mean, I've played it before, you know, but after watching the movie, my phrasing of the melody and just, you know, the feeling and the interpretation completely changed.
Yeah, you were able to build it based around having seen the original.
Yeah,
I get it. I get why he would want to inspire you like that.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a great. I mean, you know, it was just. I mean, I never would have thought of doing that. You know, I mean, just
as an exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
That's weird that just kind of trippy that you got to watch The Wizard of Oz with him, and it was he who produced Dark Side.
Exactly.
Which was the movie that people would sync up. Did you mention that to him?
Yeah. I think that may have had a little bit of, you know, I think that may have had something to do with it.
So is there something to that? Did he reveal anything? Did you?
No. He
just laughed.
As far as I know, it's just a coincidence.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But neat, yeah, first-hand accounts working with this guy. He tell you any war stories? Any of the?
Well, you know, I mean, yeah, he shared some stories with me about working with the Beatles, and you know, and him when he would, you know, do their mixes, and when he'd, you know, work with them, and you know, with McCartney and all that, and it was just, I mean, sitting there with him and just hearing all this was just, I mean, it's just over the top.
It is,
you know?
the whole thing, man.
Yeah.
Everything. It's crazy when you talk to people and they're on the East Coast and they're like, Jake is like sold out at this point. I mean, you're doing it, dude. You're making it happen.
It's been, you know, we've been just very fortunate, and yeah, and I'm just, I don't know, I'm just enjoying it. I'm loving it all right now.
I can tell, man. And we appreciate it too. You want to do another jam while you're here? Or do you want me to? I'm very lucky to get a couple songs, so thank you for being willing to do this. No. We don't often get. I do a lot of interviews in here where we don't get to have anybody who has mad chops just playing one instrument that they're known for. So this makes it extra special.
Thanks, man. Well, you know what? This is actually the first song that I sent to Alan when we first started talking about this record, and I told him, you know, let me tell you how I wrote this song, actually, because it was really by accident, you know, the way I came across this piece. I was changing my ukulele strings one day, and the packet was missing the third string. So I put on the first string, the second string, and the fourth string. And instead of rushing off to look for another third string, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to write a song with just 3 strings? So I started just messing around with the 3 strings. And then I wrote this piece, and I called Alan, and I said, hey, Alan, I just wrote this piece. What do you think? And I played it for him, and he listened to it, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Jake, that is beautiful. I love it." You know, and he said, "I can hear an entire orchestra behind the ukulele, on this tune. And so, of course, I was excited, because, with the idea of bringing in an orchestra. But a part of me felt a little like, because I was so proud that I could play the song with just 3 strings, but now on the record, there's a 30-piece orchestra on it, so there's over 100 strings. Yeah. But I love I love both versions. I mean the record version with the 30-piece orchestra. Kip Winger did the orchestral arrangement, and it's absolutely stunning.
You ever think you'd grow up and be working with Kip Winger?
No way, never.
Seeing a lot of people know.
I mean, a lot of people know him as the rock guy, right? But he is actually a brilliant orchestral arranger.
He's a very good musician too. They opened for somebody a long time ago who I don't even remember who, but I remember watching Winger, thinking, "Wow, this guy's a really talented individual."
He's really amazing. So,
but the orchestra, the whole idea for it came from Alan. Then you're saying this record wouldn't have had the orchestra at all if it wasn't for Alan.
I mean,
so the whole idea to do orchestra was his.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's neato.
Well, he presented the idea to me, and he said, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Yeah, if you can make it happen, man, let's do it."
You're like Alan Parsons. What are you gonna do? Like you're gonna argue with him?
All right, here we go. Here's so I call this song "Missing 3."
Got some serious fingers, bro. Watching those things work. Jake Shimabukuro Grand Ukulele is the record. The Bank of Hawaii, first annual Jake Shimabukuro and Friends show, Saturday, Hawaii Theater. Dude, did you have fun? Was this all right?
Oh, this was great, man. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, it's always, I always love hanging out and talking with you, man. It's always a pleasure.
And I appreciate it too, dude. It's been quite a ride watching the whole journey. It's amazing. And we'll have you back in here. Maybe we'll do some more stuff. Is the room all right? You dig the room?
Oh man, this place is beautiful.
Not a bad little space.
It sounds
huh?
great too. I mean, the acoustics in here are wonderful.
Meets your high standards.
Oh man, I mean, I would love to just do just a completely, just totally acoustic, unplugged concert in here. That'd be great.
Well, I'm gonna hold you to that. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll do
all
that.
right, sounds good.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.